the biggest rematch in UFC history. Simple as that. Considering the odds of us getting the third fight before both guys reach retirement age in a Triller boxing match are pretty much zero at this point, at least we'll always have 2016. This is the year Conor's focus started to drift. He wasn't completely off the rails yet, but Conor attributed a big reason to losing the first Nate fight to not training like he usually did. He would go on not to learn his lesson from this and basically took the exact same approach in the biggest fight of his life against Khabib, but that's a story for another day. Going into the second Nate fight, I wasn't really sure about Conor's path to victory. He was easily the better striker, that wasn't even really a question. But Conor was 100% reliant on the knockout. He never had a stoppage victory after the second round in his entire UFC career, and he was up against someone with an elite chin and elite cardio. A certain salty bantamweight made probably the best point about the fight going in.
Dominic Cruz had a very interesting statement before this fight. He said, "I don't know if Conor McGregor has a style that can go 5 rounds."
You can't sprint for 5 rounds. That's just not how it works. Conor's style was all about explosive movement and pinpoint accuracy. So what does he have left when that explosive movement fails him? I couldn't imagine Nate's game plan was any different than last time, and honestly, why would it be? The Diaz brothers are extremely comfortable in championship rounds, and Conor is a complete fish out of water in championship rounds. A lot of people shit on Conor's conditioning, but he doesn't really have bad cardio. He has one of the most taxing fight styles, and that was the big talking point headed into this fight. Conor comes out immediately establishing the leg kick. This is before the whole calf kick movement, so his kicks were aimed primarily at the thigh. Nate and Nick put so much weight on their front leg, RDA was able to punch it, so it's almost negligence not to attack their leg. Over and over with the leg kicks, eventually the kick set up that signature left hand, and down goes Diaz. Conor was a pretty notable case of fuck that, I'm not grappling with that guy, and I don't blame him. I know I keep mentioning it, but really the story of the early fight was those goddamn leg kicks, hitting the same spot over and over. Diaz finally says to hell with this, let's get into an actual fight. Conor hits him with one of the cleanest counters of the fight. Diaz goes, okay, fair enough.
Conor has talked a lot, Joe, about this fight going deep into the latter rounds, and that's where he feels he'll have a big advantage.
Yep, later rounds definitely favor you, Conor, not the triathlete who's never been tired in his entire life.
1-0 McGregor.
Very different than the first round of their first fight. Did not blow himself out.
Conor looked good, but he looked good in round 1 of fight 1 too. Despite the much more efficient movement, the question remained the same. Can he do this for 5 rounds? Round 2 opens up with a huge left hand, knockdown number 2 for McGregor. Remember when Diaz said after the fight that he was falling down on purpose so Conor would grapple with him? Yeah, for sure, bud. Knockdown number 3. Little more staring in the mirror, mainly Conor landing counters and Nate not really giving a shit. And finally, Nate finds what he's been looking for. Conor slowing down. Blood is in the water. Diaz scores over and over. Nothing big, but it doesn't matter, it's landing. Conor is exhausted, and this is after intentionally slowing down for this fight. He's been much more calculated and still breathing heavy. Diaz tees off on him, but Conor's able to weather the storm. But considering Conor looks like he might die of heat exposure and Nate looks like he just got warmed up, this fight already feels like a formality. Diaz comes out for round 3 refusing to take a step backward. Hands up, going forward, showing zero respect for Conor's power now. McGregor tries to land some leg kicks and jabs, but everything looks like it's in slow motion and off balance. For all intents and purposes, there's no reason this fight isn't done. To his credit though, Conor showed he's pretty solid in the clinch where he's able to reverse position, separate, and start landing shots of his own. A hard leg kick, a couple nice counters, but again, Nate does not give one single solitary shit, openly laughing at whatever's left of Conor's punching power by this point. Conor needs to move away, his ribs are burning, he's got no oxygen left, and Diaz is yelling at him and telling him to bring it. Mystic Mac hit Nate with everything and the kitchen sink, and Nate hit him with the, is that the best you got? Diaz pushes him into a corner and goes off. Nate landed 58 significant strikes in this round, and it felt like even more. Conor does just enough to stay in the fight, gets back to his corner, and one particular piece of advice from Kavanaugh would help shape the next round.
You can instigate the clinch and just lean on him and get your breath. Slip left hand is there every time.
Round 4, Conor starts finding the slip left hand immediately. Like Rogan mentions, this is a volume striker versus a pot shotter at this point. This round showcased Conor could find that second wind. Conor does a better job in this round of attacking in bursts while using minimal movement with his defense. He hasn't quite gotten to the point yet where he abandons his defense entirely and just lets himself be hit repeatedly, but he's close. When fans of the Diaz brothers joke about how they don't lose fights, they just run out of time, this is what they're talking about. I swear though, that pull two that Kavanaugh mentioned at the last second is landing every single time Conor throws it. Even if it didn't knock Nate out, that shot was a piston all night.
You're landing a jab, land the two. All heart, baby, all heart.
Nice stiff jab, catch his shots. You're dominating the clinch.
Not sure I'd say dominating the clinch, but definitely doing much better than he did the last time. Anyone else remember when Conor was actually a martial artist improving aspects of his fight game? I know, right? Feels like a lifetime ago. Diaz comes out for the last round in full smother mode. Block shots, walk through it, get to the clinch, keep draining Conor's gas tank, which is already close to E.
Excellent takedown defense by Conor.
Outstanding.
True, but he's losing this round. Couple good counters by him, but again, Nate smothers it and shoves him back against the cage. This round consisted of Conor landing a shot or two, and then Nate either returning fire or shoving him against the cage again. But with 10 seconds left, Nate finally gets the takedown, giving Diaz fans all the copium they'd need for years after. It was good to see these guys more or less bury the hatchet after the fact. They got that weird Batman and the Joker kind of thing going on about them. Going into this fight, after seeing fight 1, I think a lot of people were questioning Conor's ability to bounce back. No submission threat, no KO to be found. Surely Conor couldn't win a decision. He wasn't going to outlast a triathlete. And while outlast isn't really the word I'd use considering Conor looked like he needed oxygen after the fight, he did do enough to get the nod from the judges. I added 48-47 Conor, with round 4 being really the only round that didn't judge itself. At this point, I think we can call this trilogy dead. Even if it happens, I'm not sure it carries the same weight it once did. But while that elusive third fight's time may have passed, we'll always have this one etched in stone for all of history. In my opinion, the best UFC fight of all time.